Hi, William. This is an idea I've been playing around with for some time now, and I think it's very nice. I'm sure it can't quite be original, but I'll show you what I mean. It's a thought card. So somebody here on this side thinks of whichever card, and then I say something like, think of any card, and they think of whatever card. I say, well, forget that card, think of a different card, and now, last but not least, last choice, you can think of the initial card, you can think of the second card, or you can think of another card altogether. Point being, it's a perfectly free choice. Let's say this card. I have absolutely no idea what card they're thinking of. And I ask them to hold out their hand, hold out your hand. You just put your other hand on top, and you're thinking of that card. And to make sure that the other person is not thinking of the same card, I'll give you a perfectly free choice to choose any one of those cards. So I go through the cards one by one. They were shuffled by you before or not shuffled by you before, it doesn't matter. Whenever you say stop, you say stop, and let's say they say stop on this card. So they say stop on this card. They could have said actually this card right there because they wanted to, very fairly, very freely. You're thinking of this card, and I'll give you this card. I'll give you this card between your hand, between your fingers, blah blah blah, yada yada, and so forth. So you're thinking of one card which is random. You're thinking of one card which you deliberated. What was your card? Your card was I don't know. I actually don't know. Your card was the two of hearts. Very good. So I changed this card that they chose to the two of hearts, and this card that they held on to from the very beginning is, of course, the two of clubs. The idea, and I would like to know if what you think of this, or if you have any ideas with this, or what have you. This idea is essentially from between your palms, but I think it's a different sort of usage here. So if you have a duplicate, and a duplicate can be a different back color, it really doesn't matter. It could be the same, it makes no difference. And you're taking this card and the duplicate, and you take it out and you palm these two, or you have it wherever, under your knee or wherever you want to have this. The rest of the cards are as fairly shuffled as can possibly be, and they're literally thinking of any card. And the thing what always strikes me as odd about think of a card tricks, if they think of any card, in order for you to find out what card they're just thinking of, they have to tell you at some point, or they don't really have a free choice. But in this case, they have a very free choice to think of whichever card they want. But they just take it out. So they take out, let's say they take out this card. They are thinking of this card at some point prior to this. You get the cards back, and you say, okay, you could have thought of whichever card, you had a perfectly free choice. You're thinking of this card just to make sure. And of course, then you have to switch it out. So you say, well, this is just you, blah, 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 blah. Hold out your hand, and you top change this card for the duplicate. And they're holding on to the duplicate. And now you have to force the duplicate on the other person. So the duplicate is second from the top. And again, there's like a million ways of doing this. And this is still me playing around with it in part, but I think it has some potential. So now you're holding a thumb break above the bottom two cards, which is the duplicate and the card that they actually thought of. You can also, after they've done this, of course, you can glimpse the top card in the way to glimpse just the top card rather than doing this. This is an idea that I read by Roberto Giobbi once. If you're holding a break below the top card, you can just very slowly and very softly riffle the middle few, and you get a glimpse of the top card. At any rate, you know that card, if that's what you want to do. Then you double undercut the top two cards to the bottom, and you hold a break above them, like so. And then you transfer the break to the thumb, of course, and then you peel off cards singly, one by one by one by one by one, until at some point they say stop, and whenever they do say stop, you add the two cards below the break so that they're underneath the card that they actually said stop at. Then you apparently take just this card, which looks, I think, very fair. You show them, which makes sense that you just show them, and then you do the, I think, Vernon Glide or whatever. Anyway, I'm sure you know this, or the Ackerman Glide, where you take out the card where you push this card over, so that it's angle jog, and you take out the card below it, like so, and you just set it on their hand. It's, I think, a very economical way of getting about this. You can, if you wish, double undercard the duplicate to the bottom, and then you can cop it out, and you're clean again. You have nothing. You can drop this card and put it wherever you want. You have a perfectly ordinary deck of cards, and at this point, no magic has taken place. At this point, it's just perfectly fair. So you're thinking of whichever card you're thinking of, very deliberately thinking of a card, and you've picked whichever card you picked at, and nobody knows but you. You might say something like, you can divine their name, but I think it's even better to tell them, well, okay, I have no idea what card you thought of. You don't really have to glimpse in. Tell me what's the name of your card, and they say, well, I don't know, seven of whatever it was, seven of diamonds. And they, of course, well, what card did you pick? Two of clubs. Now this way, you must be thinking about a card that you didn't initially choose. You're thinking of his card because this is new information. So of course, you now have the seven of diamonds, and you have the two of clubs. I think it's not bad. I think it has a lot of potential. I would like to know if you know of. I'm sure that the principle can't be all that new. Let me know what you think of it. If you have any ideas with that, this is not the finished product. This is just a work in progress. But I think the principle, if nothing else, has something to commend it to. If you have anything with that, any ideas, any critique, anything like that, I'd appreciate it. So, and until then, thank you, and that's it.